Hi guys, welcome back for another episode of Keep Ups with Canadian Women's Soccer. We're going to continue our talk on the Canadian national team today, since they had 3 games in the last week for the SheBelieves Cup. But we're going to spend our time talking about the main things that we learned from watching the team play. There are 5 takeaways that I had, and I'm sure you guys probably thought some of the same things. So, going forward, we're going to talk about injuries aplenty. We know in our goalkeeper roster, it's looking a little thin now, with Erin McLeod and Sabrina D'Angelo being injured before the tournament, as well as Kaylin Sheridan being injured in the first 5 minutes against the USA. Poor girl, I think she might have got the same injury I had in third year, so heart goes out to her. And then Steph Labbe also tweaked something in the last game against Argentina, but hopefully she's fine. She played through, so that left her and Riley Foster as the only healthy goalkeepers by the end of the tournament. In our other pre-tournament injuries, as mentioned, we had McLeod, but then also Diana Matheson, Christine Sinclair, and Bianca St. George all had to pull out due to injuries. We were also missing Lawrence, Buchanan, and Heidema before the tournament started due to their obligations into the international squads. So during the tournament, we also lost Quinn, Chapman, and Riviere, who seemed to pick up knocks during each of the games. As well, Vanessa Gilles had to leave after the first game, where she was dominant, because she was required to go back to play in France. So that means that out of the original 29 named to our Canadian squad, we had 8 players injured at some point, with another 4 missing due to international duties. So that's a total of 12 players and 10 potential starters missing from the lineup. So let's see how Team Canada did with those roster adjustments. Well, I thought the kids are all right. We had some fresh faces in there. Lindsay Agnew hadn't been in a while. Sarah Stratigakis made her 3rd and 4th cap for the team. Samantha Chang got her first cap. Jade Rose got her first couple caps as well. Jordan Listro, again, made her 1st and 2nd cap. And Gabrielle Carl is now up to 23, I believe. Jade Riviere got some more game time. And then Vanessa Gilles and Evelyn Viens also got their first caps. Viens got 3 games in total, I believe. And so, amazing accomplishments for all these young players to come in into a tournament and show what they've got and try to prove that they deserve to be on that 18-spot roster. And hey, maybe a couple of them did do that. I don't think all of them will, but my girl Sarah, who I play club team in the summer with, she scored the only goal of the tournament, so I'm like, there's some respect there. Atta girl, Sarah. And so, as mentioned, there were multiple players that got their first international caps, and that's great for Canada for the development and the depth of the squad. And as mentioned, Sarah got her first international goal. Other accomplishments is Deanne, who's still only 21, got her 50th cap, and then 22-year-old sensation Jessie Fleming was one of the brightest spots in the Canadian roster all the way through the tournament. So, yeah, I'd say the kids are all right, considering there was only a couple of veterans on the team able to play, and Chapman, as one of them, got hurt early on. So, yeah, the kids are all right. Next up, I would say defensive depth was something that actually I was pleasantly surprised by. As everyone knew, Kadisha Buchanan wouldn't be playing, and so they're like, ooh, backline center back, who's going to be there, especially... And I said it myself, I was like, the U.S. is great in the air, I don't know if we'll have anyone to battle out there. And Vanessa Gilles was like, okay, you're going to say that to me? And so she went out there and showed it that she was dominant in that game. And unfortunately, we only had her for 1 game, but Jade Rose got to step up in the 2nd and 3rd game and show what she had. You could tell she was still a very young center back because she did what I do at center back, where I'm like, I got the ball at my feet, and then you distribute it, panic up the field. So that's definitely something where you get composure as you play more, but she had some good defensive plays, and so both center backs I was surprised and happy with, and I'd like to see a Buchanan-Gilles combo at one point. Outside backs, also quality, I would say. Chapman was on fire in her first 2 games. I was really impressed with the way she shut down, as she always does. Riviere also showed really good, and I've always thought Riviere was actually a good player, but I didn't know how good Gabrielle Carl was, and I was very impressed to see her come in and handle press as she did, and she looks super fit and strong and technical, so I'm very happy with that. And even Lindsay Agnew, who only got a few minutes, like, she also looked very strong offensively, though Brazil wasn't really attacking in the last couple minutes of the game, so it was very pleasant to see that the center backs, outside backs look very in depth, and maybe this means that Ashley Lawrence could move up the field. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the defense. And another interesting thing was that the Canadians seem to have strong starts and fade fast, especially against the more quality teams in Brazil and the U.S. And both teams, Canada had decent chances, and they had decent possession in the final third in those first 10-15 minutes. And then from there, I don't know if Canada just lost confidence or fatigued and couldn't press the same, but they seemed to back off and allow the other team to dictate the pace of the game. And it's unfortunate because when you let that happen, then that means you're the team trying to defend and prevent goals. And as good as the Canadian defense is, they maybe aren't at that level yet to do it for 90 minutes. And so we saw, I'm hoping that maybe what they did in those first 15 minutes is a good glimpse of what might happen in the future. And then last but not least, something that was pretty obvious and is hopefully going to get better in the future is our forward woes. Even Vlatko, the U.S. coach, said that it's tough to finish, and that's the last thing to come for the U.S. team, and it's definitely going to be the last thing to come for the Canadian team, it seems. And so Becky had a couple good chances and obviously missed in the U.S. game, and then Fleming had a couple good chances in the Argentina game and missed those as well, but luckily Sarah scored in that game. And then against Brazil, there weren't that many chances, to be honest. A couple at the end there. Zadorsky had a nice little touch on net. But definitely the chances need to be increased, and the chances that we do have need to be finished more. But you could argue that's because we had two of our best finishers, Christine Sinclair and Jordan Heidema, out of the lineup. So we had other forwards get some looks. So Nichelle and Deanne had some good steals and good moments. But I was more impressed with Adriana Leon and her unique playing ability compared to the other forwards. She wasn't afraid to take people on to attack 1v1, and I thought that was awesome. She did lose the ball a bit, but like, you need that. Like, the US forwards do that, and like every country, and like we need technical players who aren't afraid to do that, and she created some plays, and you're not going to win every time in your 1v1 attack, but I really liked what she brought on the game, especially she came on as a sub 2 times, and so I was quite impressed with that. And Evelyn Vienne's also got some time up top, but it's quite tough to come into the team and try to do well in your first couple caps, and I didn't think she got maybe the time on the ball that she could have to prove herself, but it seemed there was some potential with the finishing, that they got some chances, but obviously it needs to be better. So here's hoping that the Canadian team all heal up, the kids grow older, the defense stays strong, and then the Canadians are playing a full 90 instead of just a strong start, and then they're all able to finish. And then we'd see a quality Canadian team. So let me know what you're thinking from all those games, because that was a lot of information to digest, and I tried to break it down as much as I could from what I saw, but I'd be curious to see what you guys think are some strengths and weaknesses that the Canadian team needs to work on. So feel free to comment below, like, subscribe to the video, and let anyone you know that wants to talk about women's soccer know about this channel, because I'd like to keep the conversation going. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe I'll do one or two more analysis videos of the tournament and move forward with talking about Canadian women's soccer.